go, guys. Day 3. Oh my goodness. I am so excited to be here with you guys. I have been, just going to get this up and running here. I have been knee deep in this conversation with myself today that I'm going to move you through with some dynamics of stuff. And let me just get this up so I got you guys live. I know we're in a wait for a few people to join on before I kind of get started and move it through. And I am like, whew, just bringing in some energy right here in the space of today. And for those of you guys popping in, we're coming into the space. It's like we're going to be moving through the energy of what we call mastery, almost in the space of like some conversations I want to have with you today, and about being able to integrate this as we move through our daily life. And I just got off of a call. Let's go, Dominic, right? I just got off of a call. I'm a part of a mastermind, and every Wednesday, I normally don't teach on Wednesdays. I receive on Wednesdays. But when this dropped in, I was directed that it had to be stacked in this way. And you know me, I just follow spirit in the space of everything. But I have a mastermind call that I am a part of, that I am a participant in every Wednesday. And on these calls, we dive into energetics or questions we have about our world and our life. And I brought to the table this cycle that I have been in and out of over the last, let's say heightened over the last 2 months, but weaved in and out of my world probably for the last 5 years. And sometimes it's like really quiet and silent and it's way off to the side and it's not relevant, and sometimes it's like blaringly right in my face and I can see it. I know it's here. I have pulse points and tools to do the work, like one of the tools yesterday about clearing the energy right away coming out of the gate and shifting my energetics into what I actually truly desire. And I can do that in real time because I have decided, and I made a decision once, that the stuff that's holding me back or my cycles in my world as this human do not have to take me out for lifetimes or months or weeks or hours, even in the space of that. I can notice it because I'm so present in my life. And that is one of the things that I'm going to gift into us today, is like the more present we can become right here in our feelings, in our mind, and what's showing up, and seeing the dynamics of our world show up for us, the more we can see it when it lands in our fields, whether we wake up and we're in doubt, or we're in scarcity because we opened up our bank account, or you know, this unknown bill started to show up for us and we drop into scarcity in the space of that, or we get triggered because our ex-boyfriend's getting married. And it was really cool, some of the work I just did around that, about releasing them with this beautiful energy into the world. And now I'm like, whoo, now the invitation is now right locked into my field right here in the space of like my invitation to be in the life I truly desire to live. Not that I needed one and not that I needed permission, but that landscape was still percolating around in the space of that. But it's like that we can see the story when it shows up. The more present we are in our life, we can see the story. And when we see the story, we then get to decide, is the story having a main role today? Or are we shifting the narrative to step up into the spaces of what we actually want? And I have mastered, and when I say the name of the game for day 3 is mastery, I have mastered my ability to see it and to shift it. And how I do that is by dropping into that in the moment of time that it lands. So let's just take an example. Let's just say it's money related, because a lot of us are up against money, because money is one of those key conduits that when we're disconnected from abundance and we're disconnected from our true alignment of self, money starts to get tightened in our energetic field because we use it as a baseline. Everything in our life, if we have tactile stuff and the food and our houses and all the things, are weaved in with this monetary value, right? The more money you have, the more liberation and freedom you have in your life to purchase things, to buy stuff, to move stuff through, to endeavor with stuff, and all the things in the space of that. And when we're out of alignment, or we're disconnected from life, or we're in self-sabotage, or we're fucking around with lack, in the space of it, money tightens. So let's give you an example. So let's just say I need, and I'm using the word need on purpose because there's a necessity, let's say, around this money, okay? I need 5K to drop in today. Okay, I know it's a large amount. We can even do it any amount, 500, 1,000. Like I can calibrate myself to a $5,000 day. It happens for me often. I can move it through. Like I can be in that energy. For me, that number feels aligned. So I'm using me as an example. But for you, you guys can pick anything. So let's just say there's a necessity for a certain number of money that needs to drop in today. And there's a big need, right? There's a big need and it's heavy and it's attached to shame and there's judgment around it. And if you don't get it paid, then you fall back into this context and all the fucking stories that we play out in the space of, right? We build it. So we're in necessity. Okay, so let's just say I actually need $1,500 today. Let's just say that's what I need. I need to make this car payment. I need to buy this food for Lily. I need to pay my electrical bill. I need to put money over here, whatever it is, okay? There's a necessity and a need. So the first thing that happens to me is when I actually need money, my heart restricts because there's something attached to this, like it's got to come in urgency. It has to land today, or else this and this are going to happen, or that's going to happen, or all the things, right? The story keeps building and building. So the first thing I do when I have a desire in the space of things, or there's a calibration I want to switch the energy on, I go, okay, I close my eyes. As you can see, I was already pulsing in this. It's my natural intuition. And I bring in the need. So I see what I have in my bank account, and I see what I need in the space of, it's a very hard number, right? It's that necessity, it's depthful, it's rooted, it's like a need. And I see the need. And now there's a big gap in between them. And if I go look at ways I get paid in the space of nothing is scheduled to come in today. Okay, so now I'm in, I can feel it. I'm like, okay, now I have to create, now I'm using have to energies, I have to create this money to get to the result I need today. Now, $1,500 just floats me today because that's what I need today. It doesn't float me tomorrow. It doesn't float me on Friday. It doesn't float me on Saturday when I need to pay my rent. It doesn't. It's rooted in today's necessity. Now, depending on your belief system, that might be exactly where you have to work. Where mine, I'm like, fuck that. We're going for 10,000. Like that's what I can hold. And I've done $10,000 days. I know I can hold them. I believe in it. I have offers that support it. I got all the back end. Now I've got to deal with this 10K, right? That 10K in the space of, and you can feel the heart's restricted, right? I'm in this need and necessity. I can look at my life and go, there's a disconnect here. And I could go into the stories of how the fuck did I get here again? Or why the fuck is this happening? Or that's da-da-da-da. And I could go there. But I don't. So I take this situation and I look at it from a viewpoint of, okay, so first I take the fuel out of it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the electrical cord attached into it that's creating a fucking currency in that situation. Okay? I mean, my mind, I'm unplugging the fucking energy so that I can soften and not feel the pressure. It doesn't take the energy out of the fact that it has to be paid today. It doesn't take the energy out of the fact that that's the cycle. It doesn't take any of that out. It takes the fierce plug out of pressure. So the first thing I do is I unplug it. Okay, I unplug it. I consciously in my mind, with my eyes closed like I'm teaching you right now, I unplug it and I breathe. Because me trying to co-create with the universe and attract and be and manifest and magnetize and all the things in the scarcity energy of this needing necessity is not going to work. The calibration is off. So I've got to choose a new energetic outcome. And some days I don't have space to do the deep work, to find out where the root is, to go into the space, to do all the work I do with clients. I don't have time some days. But right now in this moment, I have time to unplug. And then I have time to recalibrate my nervous system back into safety to receive it. So I breathe. Some of you may want to do this in real time with me. You may want to close your eyes if you can, and you're like, whatever situation gripped you this morning, You were in self-sabotaging behavior. You were in self-doubt. You were in confusion. You were in overwhelm. You were feeling anxiety. Maybe you were in scarcity with money in the space of the story I'm telling you right now. Maybe that is your story. Whatever it is, let's unplug it. And now we breathe until we're done breathing. I'll tell you in a sec what that means. So right away, some of you are clearing in real time with me. Amazing. So we breathe in. Yeah, we breathe in and we take another breath. And we can keep telling ourselves the stuff that we say, like, I can't believe you're here, or you're never going to get there, or you're never going to be loved, or you're inadequate, or all that shit about fucking doubt moving in. No one's going to buy it. No one's going to sign up for it. No one's going to do the thing. No one's going to do the stuff. Blah, 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 blah. We breathe into that version of us and we silence them now. And as we breathe, our objective is to land, is to release, is to move that restriction, that resistance in the heart we felt when we think about shame and we think about the things that were going through our minds, and we breathe it out and we let it go. And there'll be a moment in time where the body surrenders. Yeah, some of you landed there right now. And you're like, okay. Now we've got a pragmatic energy. Now we've got a safety energy moving through. Now we've got neutrality. We've taken the force and the fierceness out of that pressure. And now we can co-create. So if the energy is doubt in your field, and now we've released the doubt and we're at neutral, what is it that you truly want? So if we bring it back to money and the $1,500 or the $10K, let's say, that I would call in, one of my girlfriends gave me this line once, which is amazing. Where is my money? Where's my money? Because we already know that if it's in us, it's for us. We already know that these outward circumstances were decisions we made somewhere in the space of, and maybe we made them out of rebellion, and maybe we made them out of a disconnection, maybe, but we decided that it was possible for us, for this money to land in our field, so it's already ours. We just now need to find it, or remember the power within us to align and create it. Just like self-sabotage and releasing that and actually deciding that the life you truly desire to live is attainable. And now we're in neutral, we get to decide. So if it's money, where is my money? And keeping the eyes closed, we still breathe into the space here. And we open up our heart and start to connect in now to divine. So if you imagine a cord moving out of your body, or a pillar of light, or this beautiful flow that moves up into divine, your direct connection to source, my body's in goosebumps, we now ask for the answers here. We now connect into the depth of our truth. We now release the energy of being anxious or overwhelmed, and we connect back into the purity of our light, which is what we call alignment. Or if it's abundance, if it's with money, or if it's love, if you're disconnected there, if you were feeling lonely this morning in that shadow space, connect back into love and let your body be fueled by it. We connect back in and we ask the question, how do I move forward? What actions do I need to take to co-create with you, divine, this outcome I desire? What is the shifting that needs to happen? Go put on your jeans and get outside in your car and go for a walk. Drive your car to the park, go for a walk, whatever the details are in between. And then what happens is we listen. So for me, the money, where is my money, God? Where is the money necessary and needed that I need in my life right now, that I desire to have, to hold my integrity with these commitments, to move this through in the space of, to have this experience with my kids, to maneuver this forward, to release myself, to liberate myself with money? Where is the money? And if your portal's clean, you will hear, know, see what to do. Now, if you keep trying to think about it or force an answer or move it through, then we're working in a whole other energy. Then I would say to you, go do the clearing from day 2 first and then drop into this space. Because some of us have some work to do here where I have mastered the work. And not that I don't come up against new levels and come up against new things. I do. I'm just coming back into the space with you. But when I feel disconnected, I drop into this every day. Whenever I need to. And some days I don't get the ping. And other days I have support networks that shift me through the ping. Like my mastermind this morning I was telling you about. In the space of that and maneuvering it through. Amanda, I'm so happy you're here. But if we can be so present in our life that when this disconnection shows up, or the story our mother says to us that pings our energy again, or the interaction we had with our best friend who just triggered the fuck out of you, or the message you get on a Sunday about your ex-boyfriend being engaged in the space of all of this, or this dynamic, or that whatever it is. It could even be the triggering of the fact that you didn't buy organic food last week because you were in scarcity, and now something happened to the fruit platter that fucking triggered the fuck out of you, and you dropped back your vibration lower into the space. It doesn't matter what it is. When we talk about shadow work mastery and integration and moving it through in oneness, we don't avoid it any longer, we see it. And we honor it, and we understand that it's here, and now we do the work in real time to shift it. Now, some of you got some fucking roots that need to go, okay? Like, let's just be real about this in the space of everything. We know we got some depth. Some of you got some fucking depthful shit that this will work for short periods of time for you, but you've got to go into the massive work and get it moved. Okay, like let's just be real. We know that. I've had to do that work. A lot of you do that work. We're moving through some of the spaces here in the adventure of this, we'll call it. And like, let's just be frank and real about it. Okay, some of us need to go into that. But some of you have done some of this work already, and now you're in a space of moving from old identity into new identity, and you're floundering sometimes over here. And it's like the old identity keeps pulling us back. It's the same thing. When we're up against a quantum leap and a massive upgrade, the stories from the old versions of us try to peak up to pull us back down. It's what we call 3D world. It's what we call staying within the matrix. It's what we call living and breathing by the infrastructure of conformity that this earth plane was built on. And why we're here is to transmute it and to bring us back into remembrance. That's the path. That's the journey. Right? We all got pieces to the puzzle that we're coming here for, and all of us have this work inside of us to move through. And sometimes we're in the heat of it, in the depthfulness of the dark. Other times we're like, we got that quickly, and we're moving it through, and we got it, and we got it, and we got it, and we're maneuvering. We weave between the stories of this. But next levels, quantum leaps, alignment in the purity of your light, will require identity shifts into remembrance of who you actually are. Not the old versions of conditioning. Not the way you used to see the world. Not the way that you saw the world back in 2018 before you did the work to get to here. I am talking about at the purity of you. And it scares the fuck out of most of us. Because most of us are like, is this really who I am? Is this what I desire? Can I say this out loud? And that's why it's been so fucking fun for me to be in this non-committal relationship because I get to show up in everything that I want. And I get to be me, which is my practice run, let's call it, for the actual man that's going to be in my world. Okay, and I know, and some of you might be like, oh, but Colleen, what if it's a guy? He is not the guy. I know that. But he is my guy right now. And it's working. And there'll be a point in time that it won't work anymore, and it'll be amazing in that space of things. We are both very clear about what this is. We are both very clear. There is no illusion around it, because we're coming from a really pure space of communication, whereas relationships usually mirror to us the work we need to do. So as his mirrors come into play, I go, how do I respond from this? Do I respond from the purity of who I truly am? Or am I going to put a mask back on and respond from beyond the mask into the illusion and pretend that this is what I need to be? And I get to choose that every day, as are you, choosing the stories that you're working within. And just because, so let's give you a reference point. A lot of people out there right now are tightly wound up in an energy of money, right? And it's like tight. It's tight. My mentor said to me today, she goes, remember the 50K version of you from last month? I was like, oh yeah, I remember her. And she goes, there's a reference point in your life right now that you've calibrated in frequency. Like you have a frequency of a certain level of money that you've made in the space of in a short period of time in a certain timeline avenue. I go, yeah, I know that. That is truth. All of you have that. So if you're desiring $5,000 right now to close out the month, to do whatever you want to do, where in your lifetime did you co-create $5,000 with Divine? Who were you in that space when you were moving that money through? It could be $100 today, it could be $500 today, but I guarantee you the money that you are desiring for your life right now, there's a pathway that you've been down. It is already yours. Now, if you're being called up to calibrate into a new pathway, like me, then you're coming up against the edge of the next ceiling, which means there's probably some deep-rooted work that needs to transpire in your field for you to massively move through it. But you're right at the cusp of that energy, right? You're right here in the space of. So now it's like when I say coming back into our spiritual rituals of devotion, when I say that to you in connection with the shadow, it's that energetic calibration that's coming up, and we don't diminish what's happening in the shadow. We see it, we bring it in, we honor it, we bring it into integrate it into our space of, so we cohesively work together to expand up through the ceiling of the complexity. Because my rebel, my courageous bitch that's in me, I will not take anything less than this energy, my demand of the energetic field and my reclaiming of my truth is a baseline to maneuvering into my next level. And then we weave the divine goddess with grace and flow and intuitive pathways and creation and maneuvering it through. But at the bottom is that rooted warrior that will not give in until, and she probably will never give in, because we're going to go right up, and then I'm going to be like, fuck yeah. Okay, what's next? And then we make another decision and decide, and then guess what happens again? More uprooting, more shadow work. But it gets a little bit easier when you get to certain spaces because of the fact that you see it, you know it, it's there, and you're like, fuck, I got you. And now we're doing different aspects of work, and now we're moving through stuff in different capacities and different spaces and all the dynamics of that. Anybody feeling me today? Just want to see what's landing in the energetic field for you guys. Our devotion to alignment, to wealth, to love, to peace, to joy is the calibration forward. And I love the word devotion because it is a devotion. It's us devoting ourselves, or for the men in the group that love the masculine framework, our commitment to the outcome. It's our commitment to the life we truly want to live. And every day we calibrate into the commitment, into that devotion. Is this getting me closer to what I want or not? And if we let that land, like there's been some time, so for some of you guys, you know or may not know, I love espresso martinis, okay? I would never drink them at my house. I would never make them by myself. I would go to my favorite sushi place in town, and they make the best espresso martinis that I have ever had so far in the world. Okay, that says a lot because I try them all over the place. I want to find espresso martinis all over the place. I have a limitation to what I drink with them. I don't go sit at the bar and fucking down espresso martinis all night. I come in for a taste, and that espresso martini is a liberation piece in my energy field. And so every so often I'll go have an espresso martini. And sometimes I'll say no to the espresso martini, but I'll still go and eat sushi. And sushi's way different here in Costa Rica, by the way. They put almost cream cheese in everything. But there is some places that you can get it without cream cheese. It's really weird. I don't know what it is. I don't know if that's like an actual thing, if that's actually what it's meant to be, and then North America changed it. Who knows? But there are times in my world where I ask the question, is this espresso martini, like my urge will come up, going to actually serve me tonight? Is it in liberation? Is it in celebration? Is it in expansion? Or is it an old identity coming up that doesn't want to deal with something, or that is trying to self-sabotage the pathway? And I check it every time. And sometimes it's like, nope, you're self-sabotaging the pathway. I'm like, we're not going for espresso martinis. Back to the fridge to drink coconut water. But some days it's no, let's go. Like, this is it. This is in alignment. Let's go celebrate that win from today. Let's go lock that down. Let's go see my friends, at Mosaic. It's called Mosaic, at Mosaic. And let's go be in community for a couple hours together and laugh and sort of talk Spanish and do the things. I am, though, present in my life so deeply that I know, and I check things all of the time because I am devoted to the pathway. And you know what? Obviously, I'm human, and some days I fuck shit up. And then I got to recalibrate back in the next day, and I'm like, what? We got to fucking start again. Let's go. But instead of it being years of my life or months of my life or weeks of my life, it's usually now hours of my life. And sometimes it's minutes. I'm like, fuck, I sent that text message? Shit. I was in reaction mode. But I have learned and worked on the depths of myself to not react any longer to things and to respond. And to take space some days to, like, let's say a message comes in, it's a triggering message, and I'm like, we are not responding to this yet. And I move it over here until later on that day, I have capacity to be there and to be in my alignment, in my space, to not respond from a place of old identities, old patterns, old energies, but to come from a really centered, grounded space of the identity I truly am. Where my response in immediacy might have been like, fuck you. And now my response in the actual true identity of who I am is, I understand where you're coming from. However, this is not my truth. Completely different space. But some of us are playing still in the triggers of our life instead of in the responding of living our truth. And if you let that land, shit happens. The first thing I do is I close my eyes, I ground. So let's just say I'm in a rush, which is very unheard of in this country, okay? Nobody's in a rush. If you're in a fucking rush in Costa Rica, guess what happens? Shitstorms. You'll come up against traffic that is never there, non-existent. Like, we don't have happy hour traffic or like after work traffic. We don't have that shit in this country, okay? Like, I live in the heart of the jungle. But if you're in a rush in this country, guess what happens? All of that. Your tire will blow out. There'll be a mudslide on the fucking street. You'll have traffic in the space of. You'll be stuck at something here. Transito will pull you over and they'll want to like search your fucking car because you're disconnected from your true self. And this country fucking serves it right up to you. If you have never lived in Costa Rica for longer than a month, let's just say, come and have an experience if you want to do some shadow work. Like, seriously, fucking hits you right in the face. And I love this country for that. I had no idea why I was moving here, and I still probably don't know, even 3 years later, the actual depth of that, and I may not know until later on in my life, but this is one of the avenues I do know. But when I am trying to force something to happen, or I am in a pressure point of something and I buy into the forcedness or the pressure point, it doesn't work. And I get blocked and I get banned and I get whatever. But when something comes into my field, so let's just say this dynamic that I'm moving through of a past situation from years ago that I shouldn't even be involved in, because technically I signed off on being removed from this corporation, but the paperwork was never filed in the space of that. And it's the whole my ex-boyfriend thing and the whole thing. Like, it's actually really kind of funny to watch all of this dynamic that's showing up in my life. The first thing I did was I closed my eyes. I breathed into my body. I regulated my nervous system through my breath just by breathing and consciously being right here. And then I said, God, what's my next action? What do I need to do here? And all I heard was, you need to wait. So here's what I did is I moved the energy out. I imagined the box of this situation and I went, moving you out. I'm cutting the energetic cord on it so you're not impeding in my energy today as I move through life right here. The box is here. I'm not avoiding the box. I have honored the box in the space of, I know I'll get the answers when the answers are going to drop in. And if I don't understand the dynamics of the timeline in the space of it yet, I'll probably check in a few days if I haven't gotten any answers yet. But I guarantee you that the answers will come. Because when I do this work, they always do. Because I trust in the landscape of the action, and then I act when it's being called into me. So right now, there's nothing I need to do over here. I honored it. I received it. I looked at it. I didn't avoid it. I didn't react in the space of what my ego wanted me to do. I went, I'm disconnecting from this, and now we're going to keep moving forward. Okay, let's go. We got other shit to do today. Right? And I went, shh, in the space of it all. So I want to ask you this question, and feel free to write questions in the chat. You guys have comments on stuff you guys want me to tap into. If there's something that you feel like you want me to dive into with you here, like, go throw it down in the space of. The upgrade tomorrow that we're doing is a really deep shadow work movement. I'm going to disconnect some really depthful stuff for some of you that are in that space, and I'm going to do some really intense energetic work tomorrow. That's not today. Today I wanted to bring in this energetic field for you of consideration that it doesn't have to rule our life, this duality we live within, that we can be in honoring and in integration and in the space of this energy and shift the narrative quickly in our world to continue to execute and find answers. And sometimes that means we do have to go dark for a while because we need to be right here. And that is truth. But sometimes we also need to honor it and continue to move through in the space of this. So what are you guys feeling from this? What's landing in the field energetically for you? Is anything coming up for you guys? I want to just make sure I can serve you in this space of learning to re-love and honor commitment, because that was a taboo word for me. Yeah, absolutely it was. And like discipline still creeps my fucking energy. You know? That's why I use the word devotion. Because if I'm devoted to a life of liberation, which I am, I'm devoted to a life of discovery and courageous action and like unrequited love, unfortunately. Is that the word? I can't remember the word. But in the purity of its light, I don't know. I'm devoted to a life of expansion. And I'm devoted to shining brightly in the world and helping others do the same. And that requires us having these kinds of duality conversations in the space of stuff, because we've got, like, you've heard me say it, I quote it fucking everywhere, the only way through is through. We chose this pathway. And I want us all to remember the pathway. We chose it. So before you jumped into this physical form as a soul out floating around in the ethers, doing whatever you were fucking doing before. You might have been hanging out with me as a spirit guide, you know, in the wisdom portal way of learning things through the viewpoint of others' experiences. I don't know, maybe we were hanging out there together before we decided to come down. But we said, Earth needs us. Like me, I don't incarnate very often. I incarnate when the Earth blueprint is off. So guess what? The Earth blueprint is fucking off, and guess who's here? Me. So I knew, coming down to Earth, I needed a backpack full of shit that I was about to come up against. So it's almost like you opened up this closet, and you walked into the closet, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna need some of that. I'm definitely gonna need that one this time around. Oh my God, I haven't used this tool in forever. Fucking pack that one in. You know, people say to me often, they're like, you're so resourceful. And I'm like, some days I just wish that I didn't need to be, you know, but I am. And I brought all the tools I need in my backpack to help me move through. And just like Julie said on the call yesterday, she's like, fuck, why does it have to be so hard for you? I'm like, I know. But through the learning that I get to go through, now I'm attracting things with more grace and ease these days because I don't need the fucking t-shirts of the ego that says that I'm important and that I need attention in the space of this, because I don't drive in that energy any longer. But some crazy shit has happened for me so that I can teach crazy shit and I can understand what you go through. Because that's the mechanism of us being mentors and guides, is that I have to lead authentically through it or else I can't teach it. I cannot be here teaching this actual, well, I could. There's a lot of people out there that are they're teaching fucking work that they haven't integrated and that they're not authentically actually in alignment to teach. That's why one of the key words that I've been using a lot over the last few years is discernment, trusting yourself. You know if the energy is off. There is no FOMO in the world, okay? If you are feeling pressurized by someone to say yes into something, then it is probably not aligned for you. Okay, let's just put that out there in the space of everything. But I'm not that person. Some of you get message from me randomly about shit. But I get a drop in where I'm like, yo, I was told to send you this message. You can receive it whatever way you want and make a choice. And if you say no, amazing. If you say yes, amazing. I am not hung up on the choice that you're about to make. But my job as a messenger of divine is to fucking give the messages. And maybe hearing from me is the shift that you actually needed to get yourself out of the cycle that you're in. And just by seeing my name drop in your inbox and you're like, oh, fuck, she knows. No, I didn't know, but God said message you. So I did in the space of that because I listen, because that's my job as a messenger of the light, to help illuminate other lights, is to fucking listen. And every time I didn't, I have so many fucking stories to tell you about that. A lot of you guys have heard some of them. I'm not playing that game anymore. I'm not living in the mediocrity of things. I'm not maneuvering in the space of this inconsistency any longer. I'm desiring a certain outcome in my life and I'm choosing the outcome in my life. That's how it's working and that's how it works. So I want you to let this land in your energetic fields right now for you to make a decision and decide of how this life moves for you in the space of everything. And there's no need for us to hide any longer. Your story, don't mind the power's out in case you guys can hear all the beeping. The stories you move through every day are part of the journey for you. And if you let that come into your energetic field and land, it's like you went through your shit to go through your shit to be at this exact moment in time. And whatever you're feeling is part of the story. And you may never share it on a stage or write a book about it. It's not imperative for everybody to do that. But maybe you meet somebody on your journey that you get to share that story with that then changes their life. So, yeah, what do we got going on here? Discipline cringes the rebel energy in me. So is it living in the moment through breath and trusting the divine? Yeah, Diane. And looking for truth. And using your guidance system inside you in discernment of what is. Like if it doesn't feel aligned and it doesn't feel good, and that version of you that's stepping into things isn't in a space of alignment when you do it, and it's like you cringe at some of the things you're saying to yourself or some of the ways people show up in your life, and you're like, why the fuck are these guys still in my world? You've got to trust in the space of where you're being led. The pathway is here. You've got all the assets and tools. We just have to remember that we have them. and do the work to uncover them and get out of the depthfulness that is around it for us to come peeking through the top of it. And that's the quest. And then we get to the next phase and we do it all again in a different way with different tools and assets and different levels of things and different peak interests and all of that. You know, because every person we bring into our life changes the frequency in whatever way we desire it to be. I made the decision for so long to lean into resilience as my only tool that I'd make a way without a way, no matter how hard it got or how long it took. FOMO will not go. Yeah, so this is it. It was your sign, step into your fucking power, that brought me into your field. Ah! Gotta love when a divine drops in those fucking messages in the space of that. It's like, so if you for so long leaned into resilience, Dominic, then every situation you were coming up against was requiring you to step through resilience. What if it can be easy and you still get the outcome and you still connect in deeply and. So it's like, that's the real question. That's the question I keep playing out in my own energetic field all the time. What if it can be easy? What if it can be easy? What if the $10,000 I desire from the conversation we were having can easily drop in today? Well, I've done it before. What if the $500 you desire right now to drop into your field could drop in right now? Well, I've done it before. Okay. So, if I silence my mind and I take a moment to breathe into my body and bring safety, where's that $500? Where is it? Right? Is doubt an illusion? Doubt is an illusion. It's the silent killer in the world, let's call it. Because the second doubt creeps in, fucking shifts stuff for us. And then that little energy, that little tear in the energetic field of doubt, it's like, haha, they're not at full potency any longer. Some of you wake up in doubt right away in the morning. That cycle needs to change if you desire to actually live the life you want. Now, you don't need to do anything. Obviously, I use that word for context. But that's the space. Yeah, Diane, I know your issue is going against your logic and decisions. So every single time my fucking mind starts to fuck me up, I close my eyes and drop into my body. And I breathe. And I connect back into divine. And I don't let this lead. This is a great strategy right here when we're in alignment. But it is literally a dismantling when we let this lead first before here. This is where the conformity comes into play. And if we let this conformity win every day, we're out of alignment here, which means our soul and divine aren't leading. Our mind is, which is where we're conditioned. This is where we went to school and we had to become good people and we have to do the things and we have to follow the rules and we go 9-to-5 jobs and then we sacrifice ourselves after our 9-to-5 jobs to keep up our extracurricular activities to show that we're good human beings in the world. And all the fucking things that I can maneuver and think about in the space of this. This isn't meant to lead. It cohesively works together with this once this is activated. But it's got to come from here because most of the moves I make in intuitive hits never make fucking sense until later on they do. And I go, oh, that's why I launched that. That's why that came about. That's why that shifted. That's why that's here. So, yeah. Anything else we have going on? Any other questions? Felt the ease of you saying this. What if it was easy? What if we looked for ease? What's the easiest path? What's the easiest path right now to get the power back on? I don't know. I'm not in charge of that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's going to come back on in a bit because it does this in Costa Rica. What is my desired outcome? That the fans start to move again. Right? And if I take a moment in time, I guarantee if I close my eyes, I take a moment in time, I breathe into that, I put the fans back on, I see the power coming back on, I see the fridge reactivating, I see the computer coming back online in the space of, I could move a frequency through the grid and get it put back on. I don't know why the power is off. But I could take moments right now to change it. I'm obviously leading something in the space of, so I'm not potently right there. But it would be pretty funny if it did come back on in a second. What else do you guys got for me? What other questions do you have? I love this space, by the way. By the way, I still have that one spot open for one-to-one work. It's someone's picking it up. I feel like it's going today. So if it's you, let's roll, my friend. It's not easy work, but once we get into the depths of some of this shit, it's like, wow, liberation is there. And I prove it out all the time in the work I do. I fucking love this work. Even yesterday, one of my clients after one session was like, holy shit. And I'm like, I'm just like, let's roll. Let's go. Let's play. Let's own who we fucking are in our power. And let's move everything out of the way so that we can activate the fuck out of that and live the life we truly are meant to live in this span. Whatever that is for you. All of us are going to have difference. We may weave inside of the space of some of our commonalities together because that's what we call community and coming together on common ground. But your pathway is meant to be activated, my friends. We can't do that by avoiding or pushing it under the rug or pretending like it's not happening. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I feel complete in this landscape. I feel like we got some good things done here. I feel like we're good. I feel like we're good. Plus, I really want to go hit the surge box with this beeping. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but it's kind of happening every 3 seconds. Which you question, why would you want it to beep so much? Like, do you just want people to know that the power's out and that the box is working? I'm not sure, but yeah. I'm not sure. But here's what I want to say to you guys. All the replays are going to stay in the group. As you can see, I'm uploading the second video so that it stays landed in the group. But you also have the YouTube video links. So go to the replay email. All of you guys got that in the space of everything. If you find that there's someone in your world that could really benefit from this, I'm giving you guys full permission to invite them into the group. You can hear it, Kaylin, I am not going to close it down. If there's clients you're working with that may need to hear some of the messages here, just invite them in. It doesn't matter to me that they're not on the email list. It doesn't matter to me that they didn't get the YouTube videos or whatever. Or send them the YouTube links. Like, I'm cool with that. It's public on YouTube. I just really want the more people that we can get looking at themselves in the mirror and honoring the fact that they've got work to do and that they can move through the work, the more vibrational alignment and frequency moves through the earth plane. So like the more we can move this through, the more people in their light, the faster we get to maneuver different dynamics on the earth. So I feel like I'm going to leave you guys with that message. Questions come up. You guys have questions about things. Yeah, there's two. Like we were looking for it. There is. So there's 2 boxes. One of them beeps every 3 seconds, pretty much that one. So it's like ding, ding. And then that other one is the other box for the internet. So I have 2 boxes that hold power for a short periods of time. So I'm going to go click those buttons off now. Apparently that's how I'm ending this call. But I just want you to really feel that you have every opportunity to alchemize the shadow and to integrate it into you and to actually live in the light if you want to. It's time for you to choose it, my friends. I love you guys. Yeah, message me if you have questions, anything hit you, whatever, in the space of I'm around. And I'll see you guys somewhere in the ethers. Bye for now.